Ready? Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us here tonight as we look back and reflect on the last year, the year of COVID in Erie County and Western New York. March 14th, 2020 was the date in which we announced the first 3 cases of COVID in our community, and we have not been the same since then. I thank you all for joining us here tonight as we commemorate and honor those that we've lost and remember what we've had to go through for this past year. Before we begin with the vast majority of the program, I'd like to ask our Commissioner of Personnel, Tim Hoogs, who's also a minister at Elam Christian Fellowship, to offer a prayer on this time of reflection. Commissioner Hoogs?
Thank you, County Executive. Could we all take a moment and bow our heads? Dear Heavenly Father, we pray for all those who have suffered during the pandemic during this past year. We pray for God to allow us grace and providence. You are a shepherd who walks through with us, through every valley. Be with us today as we mark the 1 year of the pandemic as it has affected our county and our region. Be comfort to those who grieve. Be strength to those about to falter. Be love to those in division. Be eternal rest for those who have died. Help us trust you, follow you, and love you for your goodness today and always. Amen.
Thank you, Commissioner and Minister Hoogs, for those words. 1 year ago, our world changed when the first COVID-19 case was confirmed in Erie County. In fact, 3 cases were confirmed on that initial day, and then 7 the following day. Very soon thereafter, dozens and then hundreds of new cases were being recorded daily. It did not matter where you lived, in the city of Buffalo, the suburbs, or the rural areas of our community. Erie County was in the grip of the pandemic. 10 days after our first recorded case, our first death occurred. And with it, our worst fears were coming true. Our neighbors were starting to succumb to this dread disease. As we all know, drastic actions were taken to reduce the spread of the disease. Acts that we could not have contemplated just a few short months before. Society as we knew it stopped, and with it a new set of challenges and problems arose. Challenges that we faced together, some of which in many ways we are still trying to overcome. Just like the rest of our world and our country, the pandemic spared no part of our community. Since that first case was confirmed, 68,016 other Erie County residents were confirmed as having COVID-19. Sadly, 1,702 of those died from the illness. Too often we talk about the total number of deaths like it's some abstract concept without any impact on our lives. However, what we are truly talking about is the loss of 1,702 of our fellow neighbors. They were grandparents, fathers and mothers, sisters and brothers, spouses, life partners, and too often, the children of our community. They were best friends, lifelong companions, work colleagues, and they came from every walk of life. Tonight, we join to honor those we have lost. Very soon, the bells of Old County Hall will ring 17 times in their honor. The first 16 times each representing 100 persons we've lost, and the last toll for the remaining 102 people who recently died from the virus. To the family and friends of those we lost, we offer our deepest condolences on your loss, but also on our community's loss from their passing. While we can never understand the pain of your loss, we grieve with you and to let you know we are here with you. Your loved one will not be forgotten. We also join to remember the survivors and what they have gone through, knowing that some must now deal with lifelong complications due to the illness. For many, surviving COVID-19 does not mean returning to normal, but living your life with a lasting reminder of the toll the virus left on you. To those who are still battling the physical and mental scars of COVID-19, I want you to know we stand with you. We will in the future. We are the city and the county of good neighbors, and we are here for you in your time of need. Finally, we join to remember the incredible sacrifices of so many and to thank each and every member of our community for their tireless work this past year. From our incredible healthcare heroes who literally put their lives on the line every day, to all who had to leave the safety of their home to go to work and ensure the continued functioning of our society. This includes all police, fire, first responders, public works, transit, water, sewer, and all other governmental staff, as well as grocery and other store cashiers, clerks, stock persons, and truck drivers. It also includes the cooks, chefs, delivery persons, and restaurateurs who were there to feed us. The child care workers who took care of our children so others could go to work for us. And to all others who had to spend everything, and all others who had to spend everything they knew about their professions and turn it upside down so we could still move forward, especially the teachers and other educators who spent much of the past year teaching in a manner that no one ever expected. To each and every one of you, on behalf of the people of Erie County, I say thank you, especially to the staff and the departments of the offices of Erie County government. I thank all of you for your selfless service on behalf of the people of our community. Because of your work, lives have been saved. And that is something we must never forget as we reflect on what occurred during the past year. Unfortunately, the threat is still real. While many more vaccines are being administered, hundreds of our neighbors are catching COVID-19 every day. And people are still being hospitalized and dying from the illness. As we remember this past year, let us strengthen our resolve to protect our fellow man and to truly be our brothers and sisters' keeper. COVID-19 is still with us and we must remain vigilant. The best way we can honor the loss of our neighbors is to ensure we protect as many people possible as we go forward. In memory of those we lost, please get vaccinated, wear a mask, and practice safe social distancing when you cannot otherwise protect yourself and others. We owe it to all who unfortunately are not here with us today. Thank you. And with that, it is my honor to introduce the great mayor of the city of Buffalo, who's been my partner throughout COVID-19 and of course, many years before and all that we've done, Mayor Byron Brown. Mayor Brown?
Thank you very much, County Executive Poloncarz. Thank you for organizing this reflection of the one-year anniversary of COVID-19 in our community. I thank you. I thank the staff of Erie County government for your leadership during this very challenging time in our community. I am honored to join you, County Executive Poloncarz, and Chairwoman of the Erie County Legislature, April Baskin, Legislator Kevin Hardwick, and Legislator Tim Myers, the Health Commissioner of Erie County, and all of the other commissioners and folks who are with us tonight. I want to lend my voice to remembering those that we lost to COVID-19 in Buffalo, Erie County, Western New York, and beyond. I want to express my condolences to all of the families who have lost loved ones, And we know that during this difficult time, so many families have experienced loss and hardship. I also want to recognize the many that passed away during this past year for other reasons other than COVID-19. 2020 and 2021, that year period, has been a very difficult time for loss for many of us. I also know that we want to celebrate those whose lives were saved and who came through the COVID-19 pandemic, who had COVID-19, who were hospitalized, and through the work of the healthcare workers, survived. And finally, I just want to, like the county executive, thank all of those in our community that came together in true Buffalo, Erie County, and Western New York fashion to help us get through this challenging time, this difficult time. I can say that as mayor of the city of Buffalo, I could not be prouder of all of the members of this community, the way they pulled together. Again, this is a solemn observance of the 1-year anniversary of COVID-19, and I'm honored to join all of you to recognize not only the challenges that this has brought to our community, but how our community pulled together to save lives and come through it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Brown, for your words. At this time, I'd like to introduce the great chairwoman of our Erie County Legislature, April Baskin, for words and also introduction of the other legislators. Chairwoman.
Thank you, County Executive Poloncarz. Thank you to Mayor Brown, to my colleagues in the Poloncarz administration and in the legislature that are joining us here today, to our family and friends and community members at home watching. This is an important evening. I admire the county executive for putting it together. I want to thank our outstanding, our fearless, our incredible caring leaders like Mark Poloncarz, our county executive, and our Commissioner of Health, Dr. Bernstein, as well as the entire Department of Health for their devotion to serving the residents of Erie County during this pandemic. As we recognize those that we lost this past year, I also want to recognize those who suffered but survived, those who are still struggling with the long-term effects of COVID, and those who continue to show up to work, whether it's at a hospital, a nursing home, a grocery store, or to drive an NFTA bus. Despite not knowing the risks that they take day in and day out, they do know that the community needs them to survive. So they do their job. To them, thank you. This pandemic, like many other crises, further exposed the inequities in our society. Our communities of color, the East Side, Lackawanna, the West Side, Cheektowaga, and other neighborhoods in Erie County were in a disadvantaged position from the beginning because of historic discrimination and because of disinvestment in Black and brown and impoverished communities. Yes, we were all given the same order to wear a mask and safe and socially distance, but the truth of the matter is we do not all have the same living circumstances. How do you quarantine in a 2-bedroom apartment when 7 people are living there? How do you stock up on the necessary supplies to survive COVID-19 when you utilize the Metro bus to get to the grocery store? How do you protect yourself from a deadly virus on top of dealing with an underlying health condition like diabetes or heart disease? It has been a tough year. Those who we have lost, we mourn. And as we stand here today, we should also recognize those who struggled to survive, those who sacrificed to survive, and those who sacrificed to keep others alive. Our leaders here tonight took bold, necessary steps to respond to the impact on neighborhoods that were already in crisis before the pandemic started. They are the ones who directed PPE resources. These people standing here beside me are the ones who opened up testing sites in hard-to-reach areas. And they are now targeting vaccination sites that seek to prioritize communities who have historically been forgotten. To them, I say thank you. My heart is with every single family member and every single friend in the county of Erie that has lost a loved one this past year. I pray that each of you take time to reflect on that person or those people and remember their life and the joy that they brought to yours. My prayer to heaven is that God continue to bless and cover our nation and that he continue to protect the residents of Erie County. Now, I will introduce my colleagues in the legislature, of whom which we have worked very hard to make sure that the Polling Cars Administration has the resources needed to be able to help the residents of Erie County survive. I am so very proud of their leadership and grateful for their partnership. I'll first introduce our Erie County Legislature Majority Leader, Legislator Tim Myers, and followed by him will be Legislator Gene Vinal, and we will close out with Legislator Kevin Hardwick. My colleagues in government, thank you.
Thank you, Chair Baskin. I want to thank the County Executive, Mayor Brown, for being here today. I appreciate it. I'd just like to tell everybody we've come from a very dark spot, and I want to remind everybody that we're not out of the woods yet. That's the one thing that we have to remember, like the County Executive said. Every one of us knows somebody who's been really hurt by this terrible disease. And that's what today is about, remembering the people who we lost, and let's not forget them. Also, we want to remember, like the County Executive said, all the frontline workers, the EMS people, the grocers, all them people who kept us running through this terrible pandemic. Also, I would be remiss if I didn't recognize Dr. Gale for her great work. I mean, there's no one better at the wheel than her getting us through this. So I just want to thank everybody for here, remind everybody to be vigilant. Thank you and be well.
As it's a memorial service, I just wrote a short poem honoring two people that I loved and lost in COVID. 1,402 souls were taken from this place, never to hear their laugh or see their face. Tonight we remember all lost this year, all those we knew and we loved and we held dear. Wishing them peace in this place, in the place angels tread. May our tears turn to hope and love instead. I called my friend in his hospital bed, just hi, nothing too important was said. We talked and laughed and he said, I'll be fine if I can get over this cough of mine. Within just an hour, he was on a vent. He never came off. His body was spent. His wife was a nurse, caring every day, but from her true love, she was kept away. Wishing him peace in this place angels tread. May our tears turn to hope and love instead. An email about a man full of life, leaving a son, a daughter, and a wife. He was such a voice and a force in our town. We never thought COVID would bring him down. His son worked with the public face to face, got sick, and took it home to his dad's place. The family is numb, in shock and bereft. There's no way to fill the shoes that he left. Wishing him peace in the place angels tread. May our tears turn to hope, to love instead. May the souls of Jose Rivera and Anthony Marconi and all those who've been taken by COVID rest in peace.
It's my honor to be here with County Executive Polling Cars, Mayor Brown, Commissioner Hogues, Legislator Vinal, Chair, Woman of the Erie County Legislature, April Baskin, and the Majority Leader, Tim Myers, and the County Executive and Dr. Burstein. The County Executive and Dr. Burstein, we've seen them a lot on TV. They've done so much, and without their leadership, without their guidance, I'm sure it would have been a lot worse. And they've taken a lot of flack for that. And I want to thank them and tell them that we appreciate that. You know, one of the bittersweet privileges of an Erie County legislator is to close the session in memory of someone, a constituent, a neighbor, a loved one. Several months ago, late last year, I closed in the memory of a neighbor, two doors down, Don, a man in his 70s, who succumbed to COVID, 2 doors down. Earlier this year, I closed again in the memory of my next door neighbor, Derek, only 45 years old, in the prime of his life. And every once in a while, I see his widow, and like everyone else, I say hi to her. Is there anything we can do? And just know that there's a loss there. 45 years old, and he's gone. I'm here today in front of Old County Hall to honor their memory and the other 1,700 people who I don't know, who I haven't closed in their memory, but who we miss, all of us, and we honor them. And we hope that we're not back here in another year to honor another 1,700. With the grace of God and with the help of Dr. Burstein and the county executive and the mayor and Chair Baskin and my other partners in government, hopefully we'll be able to realize that dream. Thank you all.
Thank you, legislators, for your very heartfelt words, all of you. At this time, I want to introduce to the podium someone who we all know very well, someone who has been the leader of the healthcare response to COVID-19 since before we had the first case. Yesterday night might have been the first anniversary when we announced the first case, but it's been more than a year since the Department of Health, as well as our local hospitals and our local doctors and everyone involved in the healthcare system, had been planning to respond to COVID-19. 1 year ago, last year, may have been the day in which we announced the first cases, but it's been more than a year that this individual has been working very hard on behalf of the people, all hours of the day, and we still have to do it due to the COVID that is in our community. I'm pleased to have known her, and I am pleased to have worked with her as hard as she has for the past year, and truthfully for the years beforehand. I knew when we hired Dr. Burstein way back in 2011 that she was the right person for Erie County. And I know after all these years, and especially this last year of this terrible pandemic, she is the exact person we needed as our health commissioner. Dr. Gail Burstein.
Thank you. I have to say it's been a true honor to be the Public Health Commissioner in Erie County during this pandemic. And I have to say this year has been the greatest public health challenge that hopefully we will ever face. And it's been a very, very dark year for all of us. We have all suffered losses. However, I want to bring to the attention that we've had shimmers of light. We've seen kindness when we didn't expect it. We've seen generosity and empathy where we didn't think it was going to come forward. So in the spirit of our losses, I mean, we've all suffered losses, I've suffered losses, and also in the spirit to celebrate the kindness that has come from our community. I want to reach out to everybody and just ask, I challenge you to please, keep up the good work. Keep up the prevention measures that have kept our community safe and healthy. Get vaccinated. If we all get vaccinated, we will get out of this pandemic. Nobody wants to be standing up here another year from now and making these same statements saying this is the second year anniversary of our pandemic. We all want to be in a different place next year, and we can be. Our community has done such a good job banding together, helping each other out, comforting each other, and helping us move forward and providing resources so we can do better, and we can do better. So I just want to call out on the Erie County community to keep fighting the good fight, and please get vaccinated when it's your turn. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Burstein. As we've all noted, this has been the toughest year of our lives. Each of us knows either personally an individual who passed, or we have loved ones and friends who have lost an individual due to COVID-19. Today, we all look back on this past year and realize we are not, as the legislator said, out of the woods. But let us honor those who've passed. I ask all to sit or stand for a moment of silence, and then the bells you will hear from Old County Hall will ring 17 times to honor the 1,702 neighbors that we lost in Erie County during this past year. Thank you. Thank you all for joining us here tonight. Let us go in peace, be safe and well, and let us never forget this past year and the memories of those we've lost. Thank you. And thank you all to my colleagues in government for being here tonight. and for working with us all so hard this past year. Be safe and well, all.